I want to first start by just relaying now a story of something that happened when I visited Thailand. Now, when I visited Thailand, I was about 7 or 8 years old. All right. So now I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be a wise guy when I tell you this story. So this is just basically the observations of an 8 or a 7-year-old. I can't even recall how old I was at the time, and I had my siblings, brothers and sisters with me. Every store you enter in Thailand, or home or shop, you find they have a small statue of with their god, and they put food in front of the statue. And then because it was summer, the food would dry up, so they would throw it away. They would put new fresh food. This might happen twice, 3 or 4 times a day, depending on what they put, how it dries up. And they do it again the next day, a number of times a day, and they keep doing it multiple times per day for many, many years. So some of them for 50, 60 years have been changing the food for the idol, for the god, for so long. Now, just the observation of a 7 or 8-year-old, we used to, me and with my brothers and sisters, we'd look at them and we'd laugh. We would say, don't they realize that he hasn't ever eaten? Don't they ask him when you take the dry food away, you know, you haven't taken a bite in the last 40 or 50 years. This is what we were saying back then. It's not because, now this is my point behind this story, it's not because the 7 or 8-year-old was smarter than the 60-year-old who was constantly changing the food for his entire life. It's simply that the 7 or 8-year-old was viewing the incident from outside of what we call the box. Because the person changing the food is inside the box. The box is a frame of mind, a thought process. You believe certain things about it, and because you look at it from within the box, you don't see what's wrong with it, you see? Now, let me take the viewers to something that they might have looked at from outside of a box. On the Discovery Channel, there's a clip where there's this man taking care of a temple where it has thousands and thousands of rats in India. And basically he believes obviously that these are reincarnated souls and so on and so forth. So he feeds them and he sits on the floor, and you've probably seen the clip. These rats are all over his head, his shoulder, and then just thousands of rats. Now, because he is inside the box, he sees himself taking care of the souls of his reincarnated, you know, I don't know what you call them, brothers, sisters, what have you. But because we view it on the Discovery Channel outside of the box, to be honest, and I'm not trying to be funny, we just see a guy with a bunch of rats on his head. Let's be honest. Because we're viewing the incident from outside of the box.
Outside the box.
There was one of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah send his peace and blessings and extol upon him. His name was Amr ibn al-Jamuh, and he had an idol, and the first thing he would wake up in the morning, he would go to this god made of wood, and he would pray to it. His sons became Muslims, and they wanted him to see that this is just a wooden statue. So the first day, they woke up early and they threw it in the trash. So he was really upset, and he swore, if I found who did this to the idol, you know, I'll hurt them and do this and that to them. So he brought it, washed it, oiled it, and put it in its place again. The second morning they woke up before him, they threw it in the trash again. So he was so irate. He said, if I find out who's doing this to you, I will destroy them. Third morning, or third day, they took it and threw it in the dump. One narration says they tied it to the carcass of a dead dog. So he went looking for the god again, and this is a god that's supposed to bring him good, push away harm from him. He saw it in the dump, tied to the carcass of a dead dog. He looked at it. He said, if you, and actually the second night what happened, he put a sword. He hung a sword over the neck of the statue of this god and said, if they come to throw you in the trash, defend yourself. Third day he finds it attached to the body of a dead dog. He looks at it and he says, by Allah, if you could do any good for your own self, if you could do any good, you would have defended your own self. You would have done good for your own self, pushed harm from your own self. If you can't do it for your own self, how can you do it for me? What happened in this story is that his sons got him to step outside of the box. I don't know if you paint or you draw, but when you draw, they teach you to step back from your painting or from what you're drawing, just to get another look at it. Because sometimes when you're looking at something from up close, it's crooked but you can't see it. Like when you write on a blackboard, your line is crooked but you can't see it when you're up close.
But when you step away, now you can really see
very clearly.
So
this is what we need people to do. People need to step outside of the box for a moment and look again, take another critical, unbiased and analytical look at what they're doing and what they believe in. Does it make sense when you step out of the box?